I made a video a couple of months ago stating that Gears of War 2 was a masterpiece and my personal favourite Gears game of all time. I still 100% stand by that to this day, to be very clear about that. But what I didn't remember was just how good of a job Epic did with Gears of War 3. It's not uncommon for a threequel to be outstanding either. Gears of War 1 and 2, and probably 3, all get to be in the same and similar debate and category as Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2 and Halo 3, with just how good and influential they really were. Halo 1 was a game that introduced the franchise to the world, as Gears of War 1 did, with its gore, the chainsaw lancer, and just how epic the story was. Gears of War 2 was a game that expanded on the storytelling, bringing more emotion into it and showing you a different side to the war. But then when Halo 3 came out, it went out and ended the trilogy with a bang. Took us through one of the most polished and well-told stories you'll play even to this day, and that's exactly what Gears of War 3 did as well. Gears of War 3 was almost like a love letter to the fans of the series, a goodbye in a sense from the likes of Cliff Bleszinski and the others a part of that team working on this game. But this video is more around just looking back at Gears of War 3. This was the game that capped off one of my favourite trilogies in gaming today. But this video is a deeper dive into the story of that game, how it evolved from the first to the second going into the third game, and how this was an astronomical leap forward in terms of gameplay, multiplayer and a campaign experience. As always with these retrospective videos, leave your thoughts and opinions down below. I would love to have a read through all of your memories of playing through this game and the previous games as well, as I always do, because these games were my childhood, they were my past, and I know that that'll be the same for you guys as well. And if you've never played Gears of War, let me know down below on what you think of the video and if you ever consider going to play them. I do have a playlist down below that's linked in the description containing all of our retrospectives that we've discussed on the channel, but also one that you can look at my other two Gears of War videos, the first one and of course the second one. Both of them received very well, by the way, so definitely go check those both out, and yeah, leave your comments down below. But strap in everyone, get yourself a beverage and a couple of snacks, and let's do a full deep dive into Gears of War 3. I think I'm going to start this video by covering off the story in Gears of War 3, how it differed and adapted from Gears of War 2 and even Gears of War 1, and going from that incredibly emotional storyline in Gears of War 2 and just times it by 10 in Gears of War 3. Like Halo 2 moving on to Halo 3, fans were already left incredibly high standards with Gears of War. Epic really need to step up their game somehow, taking the story to new levels and innovating enough to differentiate this game from the last one without changing things too much and ensuring the formula remains pretty much the same. Good old Cliffy B had a mammoth task on his hands with this one, attempting to rival one of the biggest masterpieces of its era in Gears of War 2. So did he do it? Let's find out. The story of Gears of War 3 takes place 18 months after Gears of War 2 and the sinking of Jacinto. The cog has fallen, but the survivors found refuge in Port Farol. After 7 weeks, the naval base they were positioned on was discovered and the survivors moved there to take refuge. On the boat we can see Marcus has adapted to his life after the sinking of Sarah, and Dom, well, after the trauma that he experienced in the previous game, he's doing all he can to keep busy, taking up the likes of gardening, crop growing as a new hobby just to pass the time away, giving Dom something to care about, something to be responsible for, as he doesn't have his wife anymore, he doesn't have his kids anymore, and ultimately something to take his mind off what had just happened. However, a short time later, the surviving Lambent started to invade the surface of this ship, forcing the humans back in Port Farol. After numerous attacks from the Lambent, everyone got split up into their groups and headed into different locations. Some chose to take haven on the Emulsion rigs, others stayed on the grounds of Sarah and defended against the Lambent and the Locust threat. During the attack though, Marcus secured the landing site for Prescott, who gave him a message from his father. Although the message isn't very clear at the time, and with Baird nowhere to be found, Anya promises to decode it and find out more. Whilst Marcus and the rest are on a place called Raven's Nest, Cole, Baird, Sam and Carmine fly to Hanover, the home to Cole's former Thrashball team, the Hanover Cougars, looking for a couple of supplies here and there. It's in these scenes here that you can really get to play as Cole, understand what his life was like prior to the war, which I really liked, and just see how much all of these people admired him from when he was a player. In this game as well, you get the ability to play as 2 teams. Obviously you get the like to play as Cole, but then also you can go and play as Marcus, and it's split up into 2, which I really liked as well. The perspectives of 2 different people and 2 different leaders, very different types of leaders. Obviously Marcus is very stubborn, stern.
Yeah, you do that. I'm not the conversational type, but when I get back, I want a nice long chat.
Hey, you're him, aren't you? You're Gustus Cole. Cole Train! What brings you back here?
Hey, surprised you remember me, baby. Just passing through, looking for food. If you got any to trade, the Cole Train is sure appreciate that.
But remember, it's Cole's hometown, where he's a big shot football player. Seeing all of his signs, his cutouts, seeing all the locals bum up to him a little bit, and they're just sitting back and hating every single second of it, which I loved, by the way. The dynamic of Cole and Baird is just, it really makes this experience.
Ooh. I'll give you a side of bacon for her, though.
Oh, bacon.
Hey, take the deal, Cole. I haven't had bacon in 6 months.
And what made it even funnier was that Baird supported the rival team to the Hanover Cougars. So everyone loving Cole was just a big kick in the face for Baird, because he hated this team when he was before the war.
Holy ground ahead, people!
Remind me, Cole, what was it you played again? Oh, yeah, ladies field hockey, right?
Because you don't know, Carmine, Barrett was a Sharks fan. Because he didn't know any better. He's still bitching about it.
All Father's trophy, blind referee. That's all I'm saying.
Just watching Cole relive his past is something we never really got to see much prior to the 3rd game. We only heard about his past, and it was something you had to really imagine. We never really knew how good Cole was, how good of a player he was, and how much the people really admired Cole before the war and when he was a football player.
Huh. You ever feel like you did, but nobody told you?
Flashbacks to him on game day with his helmet as well, all dressed up in the gear. Him on match day, walking with the swagger into the changing rooms and walking out onto the pitch as well. It just gives you more of a reason to really love and care for Cole and just understand where he's come from and what he's doing right now. And the emotional connection you get with him increases because of these scenes. And we all know why Cole is so well loved, why he is the way that he is. Another amazing touch was also retrieving a bomb on the field with Cole dressed in his NFL helmet.
Never gonna let anyone else have that ball. Take the play off. I tell you, man, this is our team.
Which was just, again, what a creative and genius idea. Just like when he was playing football.
You okay, Cole?
Ah! The train still got the moves, baby! Now, that was a move I first used against the Eagles in the national finals. Of course, them bitches didn't explode.
Yeah, you still got it. Now let's go sweet talk the Queen of the Bums.
Anyway, as they cross the bridge, they come across another stranded outpost. This one starts firing on them, and they soon find out that this is actually the Locust. Since the Hollow was flooded, the Locust have become stranded and savaged too. Cole intercepts a transmission from Marcus stating that the Raven's Nest is under attack from a Leviathan, and asks Cole for a bit of help. Baird gets the idea to use caged tickers to blow up the Leviathan and asks Marcus to lure the Leviathan under the bridge. Marcus manages to do exactly this, and Cole releases the tickers, killing the Leviathan, but also blowing up Raven's Nest and the Continental Bridge, sending the heroes deep into the water.
I suppose you want me to say I've always loved you.
Oh!
But I don't. I really, really don't.
After the ship was destroyed, Prescott is mortally wounded. Before he died, Prescott provided Marcus with an encrypted key with the location of a secret base known as Azura, where Adam Phoenix is being held. Baird remembers working on a disc for Colonel Hoffman whilst he was at the Vectors, that he could never really crack. Thinking that Prescott's key is the way to do it, they decide to take off for Hoffman's last known position, Anvil Gate. This was a huge military base from the Pendulum Wars, but contact with the base had been lost for some time before that. Marcus doesn't really care, so he decides to go there anyway, taking Dom, Cole and Baird with him. The group travel across the wastelands, where they discover a new type of locust, called the Savage. They are the locust who believe that their queen has died, and are forced to live above ground. The Cogs soon encounter the Locust Queen, Queen Mira, whom was previously thought to be dead. Marcus and his team hijack a Locust gas barge and travel to Anvil Gate, by air, stopping along the way to rescue the main man, Dizzy. They arrive at Anvil Gate and help Hoffman defend against the Locust onslaught, and even manage to defeat a lambent berserker along the way. Afterwards, they review the encrypted key to find the location of Azura, but discover it was protected by a man-made maelstrom, preventing the arrival by air and also above surface water. Hoffman noted the location of a submarine in the ruins of Char, a nearby city, but they need fuel in order to power it. Dom suggested to travel to Mercy, where an emulsion filling station is located, which also happened to be where his wife, Maria, is from. Marcus, Dom, Sam, Anya, Jace and Dizzy head for Mercy whilst Cole and Baird go and look for reinforcements. At Mercy, they discover a crazy old man trying to destroy the emulsion-fueled fuel supplies, seeing as the stranded were now suffering from an unknown illness caused by their work on the fuel. They discovered that humans become lambent from the emulsion poisoning too, and fear that infections may spread beyond Mercy. Whilst making their way towards the fuel pump, Dom momentarily separated from the squad. Throughout the story we can see that Dom is not the same as what he was in the first game and even the start of the second game. And that part of him was left behind when he found out about his wife inside one of the Locust pods.
Maria. Baby, I'm sorry I couldn't bring you home. But you're with the kids now. That's home, yeah? I'll see you all again one day. Look, Marcus is busy saving the world again, so I gotta be there for him. Sleep tight, sweetheart.
Dom lost his kids, he lost his wife, his whole family is gone. Even mentioning to the player that this was the place that he wanted to bury his wife and kids, but he could never do so.
15 years? Maria's family, they're buried near the church. I wanted to bury her and the kids here too.
Dom placed his cog tag around the neck of an angel statue which was situated in the city, stating that one day he would be reunited with his family. With Dom not seeming very bothered about death at this point, like he's already accepted it. It was a really touching and grounding moment compared to the likes of Dom in Gears of War 1 and Gears of War 2. Upon activating the fuel pump, however, the squad is ambushed by the Lambent. When the squad comes to be surrounded by Lambent forces and are on the brink of death, Dom does the unthinkable.
We're surrounded! There's too many! We're not gonna make it!
Hold them off! Just hold them off!
However, the rest have no other choice to press on with their goal and head to Char, as Adam Phoenix still needed their help. Upon reaching Char, Marcus tells the squad that they are continuing on so that Dom's death was not in vain. However, when we reached Char, we were surrounded by ash husks of civilians, killed when the Hammer of Dawn strikes fell, frozen forever in their final moments, hugging their kids, their loved ones, trying to run away as quickly as they could and save who they loved. As they progressed through though, an unknown figure, the same colour as the ash husks, began setting tough traps to try and scare them off. They find the Ashman eventually, and when they reach his outpost and the Ashman fends off both the Locust and the Lambent, he was grateful for the Cog's help, so he takes them up to see the boss. This is where they encounter someone called Aaron Griffin, the CEO of Griffin, which is essentially an emulsion corporation. Griffin's very confrontational with the Cog and explains that the people who were turned into ash by the hammer strikes were his friends, employees and family. Griffin takes Dizzy hostage to ensure that the Cog will help him get his cable car back that hadn't returned to base. On the way to get the cable car, the squad mentioned that Char seemed to be the city that suffered the most from the hammer strikes, and that it couldn't have been easy or an easy decision to do this. Anya here notes that she was in the room when the decision was made, that it really wasn't an easy one to do, hinting that she feels somewhat responsible for what happened to the city, and as we can see, it's pretty much a wasteland at this point. The squad completes the task, but finds out on the way back that Queen Mira has been following their every move. They help Dizzy and Griffin fight off the remaining Locusts, and then part ways with Griffin, in a really, really nice way. The Cog escape and eventually make sure to make their way to the naval base, where the submarine is located. After repairing and refueling it, they set off to Azura. After slipping under the maelstrom, they find the Azura is fashioned as a large resort. As they fight off the Locusts that are also trying to get to Adam Phoenix, the Cog discover that Prescott ordered the construction of Azura and brought the world's elite to it prior, to try and constitute a plan to save them from the Locust. Adam is able to contact the team via the security cameras on the island and explains that he has a cure to stop the Lambent, but needs the Cog's help to execute it. Marcus and his team fight through the Locust to shut down the Maelstrom generator with Adam's instructions, allowing Cole and Baird to arrive with ground and air support. As Lambent forces start to invade the island, the Cog make their way to the hotel where Adam is being kept. En route, they face the Queen, who reveals that Adam had been working with her for 20 plus years and refuses to let them help him complete his plan. After dispatching Mira and thinking she was dead, their squad reaches Adam's room. After a brief reunion and hearing the news about Dom, Adam explains that the emulsion is a parasite, adapting itself to both locust and human bodies to create the Lambent, and it is evolving very quickly. Adam has developed an energy wave that functions like a neutron bomb, destroying any cells that are infected by emulsion. Through this it will kill the Lambent, but it will also kill the locust troops as well. Adam's been in contact with Mira for over 20 years, trying to stave off the effects on the Locust and discover a cure that would not harm them, but he couldn't find it in time. Adam also reveals that he knew about E-Day, and it was his fault because he couldn't cure the emulsion problem and the Locusts were forced out of their home. He gives Baird a disc with all the research notes on it, saying it will answer all the questions. Marcus and his squad escort Adam to the roof of the hotel where the energy generator and his cure sits. The Cog defend against Mira's attack as the machine powers up. Eventually, the machine reaches full power, sending waves of energy across Sarah, killing all the Locusts and the Lambent.
It started.
Let's go, Dad. This tower's too unstable now.
I'm sorry, Marcus. I'm not going to make it.
It's okay. I'll carry you.
Marcus, the emulsion developed faster in me because I forced it to. I had to find out how it reproduced.
What are you talking about?
Adam reveals that he will also die shortly as well, having infused himself with emulsion to test this cure, and tells Marcus to live his life to the fullest before he's also turned into ash and crumbles.
Cell on Sarah. It has to.
No, goddammit, I can't lose you again.
I'm glad I was able to see you again, Marcus. Now go. and live for me.
God!
As we mentioned earlier, this game is centered not only around the huge loss of Dom, but every commonality points towards Marcus Phoenix. Marcus has experienced a significant amount of loss throughout 1, 2, and the third game. He's gone through it all, and finally, he gets a little bit back towards the end. As Marcus agonizes over the loss of his father, Mira, still alive from the last attack, blames Marcus for what Adam failed to do.
Finally killed him!
Feel that? That's from Dom. And everyone else you killed, you bitch.
Marcus stabs Mira with his knife, killing the Locust Queen. As the cog forces to celebrate the end of the war, Carmine is shown to also have survived the helicopter crash. And Baird and Sam show hints of a possibility of a future relationship as well. Marcus continues to mourn the loss of his family, but Anya reminds him of his father's last words, and that now, thanks to them there and then, they have a tomorrow.
What have we got left now?
Tomorrow, Marcus. We finally got a tomorrow.
Anya and Marcus keep holding hands and watch the sunset beyond the waves of the water. The story of Gears of War 3 was written by author Karen Travis. She's written 4 Gears of War novels in the past, and according to Cliff Bleszinski, Karen Travis understands the characters way better than anyone. One of the themes of Gears of War 3, as I've mentioned, is Marcus suffering. The design director says, Marcus suffering equals a good game. But what about the other aspects of Gears of War 3? It wasn't just the story that was amazing in this game. There was loads of other innovative features in Gears of War 3 that made it that step above Gears of War 2. Multiplayer was taken to a whole new level as well in Gears 3. Not only was the sandbox vastly improved with the addition of the Retro Lancer, one of my favourite weapons in this game, and a couple of other weapons across the board, we won't go into too much detail, but the maps were fantastically crafted. The Horde mode was something that me and my friends spent literal hours, days, months grinding to survive all of the enemies pushing towards us wave after wave, saving credits to fortify the areas you were locking down in those maps, and just surviving as long as possible. It provided hours and hours, years in fact, of fun. And even in the newer games, they've taken this idea and adapted it and made their new Horde mode a survival round-based Horde mode game. And it's fun. New games in the series don't really need to make drastic changes to the formula in order to make, quote, a better game. Halo 2 didn't make drastic changes to Combat Evolved. It was very much pretty much the same game, just with a vastly improved story and multiplayer. Halo 3 didn't take huge groundbreaking changes in its formula either, but each game innovated in a way that made the existing features better, added quality of life improvements that players sometimes didn't even know they needed at the time, such as Forge in Halo 3, which was groundbreaking and something that Halo 2 players wouldn't have even thought of having. Theatre mode, something that would go on to help the players be as creative as possible in many new different ways. Gears 2 into 3 did exactly this, expanding upon the Horde mode, allowing you to be in whichever character you wanted to be, Locust or Cog, adding a new leveling system which you could show off to your friends and say, hey, I'm level 30, what are you? Unlockables tied to levels to incite players to play more, allowing you to upgrade your facilities and fortify the map the higher the level you are, making it, of course, easier. And a 4-player story mode. I mean, come on, who does not love that? Gears of War 3 didn't do a whole lot in terms of changes, but it did enough innovating to make the game feel fresh, to make you want to dump hours and hours into not just the campaign, but also the multiplayer, the Horde mode, and PvP, and make playing with friends that much more fun. But that is a deep dive into Gears of War 3. Mostly we cover the story on this channel because we are a lore and story channel. We love to dive into stories and think back and to look at them. But yeah, the multiplayer was a huge part of my Gears of War childhood and growing up as well. So we did cover it off a little bit there at the end. But for me, Gears of War 3 is also probably, I would say, a masterpiece. Like, I don't like to throw the masterpiece word around, right? I don't like it. I would probably just say that the first trilogy of Gears of War was just a masterpiece trilogy. The first trilogy of Halo was a masterpiece trilogy. You can't throw that word around too much, and I know that it is thrown around quite a lot, but Gears of War 3 was a step above Gears 2. For me, Gears 2 is my favourite Gears of War, and it always will be, just because of the nostalgia I've got and the love for it that I've got. But in terms of a better game, Gears of War 3 is a better game than Gears of War 2. Like, Halo 3 is a better game than Halo 2, but Halo 2 is still one of my favourite games of all time. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think Gears of War 3 was exactly what the community needed. It's exactly what we wanted. It was that step up from Gears 2 that everyone wanted as well. And the Horde mode, I mean, my god, was just so good. My favourite Horde mode to date, and so many memories on that game as well. But enough of me rambling on. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below on what you guys think of Gears of War 3. Do you like Gears of War 3? Do you think it is better than Gears of War 2? What are your thoughts on this game? If you've never played it, I would urge you to go and play this game. It's on Game Pass, it's completely free. Just jump on. It's like a 6-hour campaign. You can get through it. It's fairly quick, and the story is just gut-wrenching. It is, honestly, so good. But I hope you have enjoyed today's video, everyone. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Leave a like if you did enjoy as well. It'd be very much appreciated. Subscribe as well if you're brand new to the channel for loads of retrospective game reviews and story reviews and stuff coming to the channel as well. And loads of new games coming out this year as well, which you do not want to miss out on. It's going to be a very big end to the year for us here. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. But have a good rest of your day, everyone. We'll speak to you all next time.